Hey there. I just wanted to do this very first session of Dawn's design demos. And I wanted to be able to, just one second, move my screen over so I can, my very first time doing this. So let me just adjust a couple of things. There we go. And so there we go. All right. So I wanted to go over with you. I found this tutorial, Tableau training on LinkedIn, actually highlighted Rosario's Viz. She's a Tableau visionary, and she has this great blog on how to do this hierarchical selection where you can expand and collapse the location, basically. And what I had done from this dashboard is, from this tutorial, is I created this dashboard here. So you can see in my Tableau public site, I kind of adjusted a little bit. So, you can expand and collapse the filtering menu here. You can go back and select all and get an overview of the United States, and then zoom into the West, and then zoom into a state. So I did modify her steps a little bit, but I wanted to show you how to do this online with my very first Dawn's design demos. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on another screen. And just for some pre-work, what I had done is I had taken all of her calculated fields and put them in a text, because I'm going to show you how to do a quick trick to do all calculations pretty quickly. And this is called the Lindsay Poulter method. I don't know if you've had a chance to, follow her or look at her site, but she is one of the beginner users, I would say, and quite notorious. Her name's out there with Andy Kriebel and Sean Miller and so on. So went ahead and grabbed all of her calculated fields from her blog and put it in this text file. So in Tableau Public, I've already connected to Tableau to Sample Superstore dataset. And I just had to modify it a little bit because mine said state. I have an older version. So I just had to rename this from state to state/province. So what do you do when you have all the calculated fields in a text file? Well, I'm going to go ahead and select all of my, first I'm going to create the parameters. That would be nice. And because it says create parameters first, I'm not nervous or anything because it's my first time doing this live session. So I'm going to go ahead in Tableau Public, select this drop down arrow here and select create parameter. I could also right click down here and select create parameter, because Tableau, like Excel, you can do the same thing multiple different ways. So I like to go to this drop down arrow up here and select create parameter. And it's pretty straightforward if you go through her tutorial. So the first one I'm going to call is level. And I wish you could zoom in more to the screen. So the first one is level, and I'm going to make this an integer. And I'm just going to put the current value as 2. So I just typed in the name level. I changed the data type to an integer, and I'm changing the current value to 2. And then I'm going to click OK. So that'll be my first parameter right here. And then I'm going to create another parameter called path. So I'm going to go ahead and select create parameter again and call this path. So these are the basically the stepping stones to go ahead and get started with doing the layout. So I'm going to select string instead of float from the data type. And I'm going to copy and paste this field here because she wants this current value to start out with. So you can start seeing the values when you're building this. So string, all, and the little arrows there, West in Arizona. So that is our very first parameter. And I'm going to select OK. And this session will be recorded just in case, if you want to follow along with it in your own version of Tableau Public. But right now, step 1, we've created 2 parameters. Then we're going to go ahead and start doing the calculated fields. So what I did is just take all of her calculated fields and see how they're, with the label here and then the calculation here. I put them in a text file and just did a / / with notes. So what I'm going to do is copy these, and I'm going to put these in a calculated field. So I'm going to open up that calculated field window. And you can see it's all stretched out because I was testing this out yesterday before I went live. So I did do some pre-work here. And I'm going to highlight the first one and then just drag it to the data pane. And it'll automatically create that calculated field. I'm going to do max level, drag it over. And I'm going to do DD label, drag it over. And sorry, DD label. This is DD level. And this is DD path. So let me go ahead and put that over there. And then DD axis. So there's a whole bunch of calculations that you need for this visualization. And then DD shape. And then she very accurately labeled where they're kind of going to go in the name. So that's a great developer tip, is to go ahead and put the name of kind of where you're going to put it in the calculated field. So I created all of those calculations. The next thing I like to do is I like to organize my calculated fields. So when I look at this dashboard, if I need to make any changes 6 months from now, I can go back and see where they're organized. So I'm going to select this drop down arrow up here, and I'm going to say group by folder. And that'll change the tables up here to folders. So then I'm going to go ahead and start creating my folders. So I'm going to select DD shape. And if you hold your control key down on your keyboard, you can select multiple pills or columns here, calculated fields, at the same time. And then here I can right click and go to folders and then select create folder. So this will allow me to put this in I'm going to call this DD calcs for drill down calculations, and it'll automatically move those 3 to that field. And oops, I forgot some. So I can just hold that control D key down and click on those and then move it to the DD calcs folder. So I can see I've got all of these here. But there's max level and there's hierarchy. So I'm going to create another folder and just put those in like one called main. So I can just differentiate some of these calculations. So max level, I'm just going to drag it and move it up there. So I've got parameters, I've got my drill down calcs, I've got my main. So now I'm going to paste some more. I'm going to do the drill up calculations now from her article here. So sorry, from her blog site. So going to copy those, highlighting them off screen. So I separated these. These are all the drill up calcs. So I'm just going to Control C and then Control V, and then do those same things again, where I'm just going to highlight and drag it onto the data pane, and it will automatically create those calculated fields. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Iron Viz presentation this year from TC24, but they all used this method, this Lindsay Poulter method of dragging the calculated fields from one calculated field and putting them automatically here, and then is selected. So this one's very important. It's got the parameter in it. You notice that anytime you see the purple color, that is calling out to the parameter. So just talking about some of these are all, setting up the background, doing axis, creating a calculation for the different shapes, creating a calculation to split the levels, because we saw that hierarchy had, double arrows, and we're getting rid of those. And then this is a case statement for, being able to drill down to the region and show values and state and so on. So I'm kind of talking about that. I know I just created a whole bunch, but if you look at her blog article, she'll talk about those in detail. So once again, I am going to close out of that because now I have them all in here. And I'm going to grab is selected and put it in my main folder. But for these others, these DU labels, I'm going to, guessed it, create a new folder called DU calcs now. So we've got drill down and now we've got drill up calculated fields. And I'm going to select those and move them to the DU calcs folder. So I've got them all organized. I've got my original fields here. So much better way of, organizing your calculated fields. So what are we doing next? Okay, well, now we're going to start creating the visualization now that we have all of the calculations in our workbook. So what are we going to create first? Well, I'm going to create the drill down menu. So I'm going to right click on my sheet and rename this and call this DD menu. And one other good habit to get into when you first start building things is I like to remove grid lines and all those things first just to get in the habit. So I'll go up to Format in the menu and select Format Workbook. And I learned this trick from Yamil Medina. I don't want to tell you how long I've spent removing grid lines from each individual sheet and not realizing I could do it from the workbook as a whole. So I'm going to go to lines and I'm going to turn this off, turn grid lines off on this Format Workbook menu. And then I'm going to turn off the 0 lines and then I'm going to turn off the axis rulers because they don't really help the visualization. I think they just kind of create visual noise. So this is how you can turn them off for the entire workbook at once. And this is also where you can go if you want to adjust any of the fonts for any of the things that you see here. So, okay, formatting. Now I want to go ahead and put is selected onto my filter shelf. And once I do that, I'm going to select true. And this is going to enable the filtering down function. So is selected true. And then I'm going to put DD axis because we're going to drill. These are all the DD calcs. So I'm going to put DD axis on the columns shelf. And I'm going to change this to an average. And I'm also going to adjust. So all I did was select down and select average here. I'm going to select edit axis. And I'm going to make this a fixed end of 1. So we can kind of stretch out the view here and see that whatever we're selecting will be right there. So the next thing she has us do is put DD level. Well, DD level is showing up as an aggregation. So I'm going to want to change that to a dimension because it's showing as a dimension in her tutorial. So I'm just going to drag it up and then put DD level first. And then I'm going to put DD path onto the rows shelf. So DD level and DD path. And then I'm going to hide these headers. So I'm going to right click, show header. And I'm going to change this chart to a shape. So we can see we've got our shapes here. And then I'm going to put the DD label on label. So you can see it's DD axis, level path, DD label, label. So we can see we've got all of the cities here for Arizona listed because that's what's in our parameter. So hide the field level for both with the label, select the desired shapes. So we also have this DD shape here. So we're going to put DD shape on shape. So right now we're getting, it says it's a plus sign. So I'm going to click on the shape and I'll just click on the item and click a plus sign there and apply it. So there we go. We've got a shape there. So I'm going to hide the header for this axis. So we've got, oh, the other thing we want to do is we're going to want to remove highlighting. So I'm going to create a calculated field called true and put this in here. She calls it HL and UHL, but I just call it true. And I'm going to put that in my main folder and I'm going to create a calculated field called false. with the false value. And this will be to get rid of highlighting later. So we're just going to have that on the sheet here. So we'll refer to that for later. So we've got everything selected for our first DD menu sheet. Now I'm going to go to our drill up sheet. I'm going to create the drill up menu. I'm going to rename this and call DU menu. So this will be for users when they want to select the top and remove the drill down to like the city. So let's go ahead and drill so we're going to put the DU axis now onto the columns shelf and select average. And once again, we are going to edit the axis here. And I'm going to change it to a fixed end of 1. And I am going to drag, once again, DU level, which we should have changed to a dimension. I put DU level on rows. And then we're going to put DU path next to DU level, just like we did on DD menu. Or now DU menu, doing the same thing. And we're going to uncheck show header, uncheck show header. All right. So we're also going to change this to a shape. So we've got our shapes there. And we want to put DU shape on shape. Okay. So we've got last minus, and we want to put DU label on the label marks card. So we've got all West Arizona. Okay. And we want to select the desired shape. So let's go ahead and click on shape. And I went ahead and went to icons8.com and downloaded some dashboard icons. So you might want to use these if you're designing with UX and make some customizations. Notice there's a checkbox, and there's an empty checkbox and a checkbox. So you could use that for further. Icons8.com is where I would recommend going. So for the minus sign, I picked a minus. For last, I'm going to use this arrow here and then click apply. And okay, we can see, the little minus and plus signs there. There's also a circle minus that might be more interesting, but I just picked these for now. Okay. She wants true on the details shelf. So we've got DU shape, DU label, got our items here. We want to hide the axis. So we're going to hide that axis. And she also wants you to change the color of the sheet. Okay, so where do we do that? Well, we can right-click Format on the sheet and click on the formatting pane on the left-hand side. We click the bucket here and then select More Colors. So she provided the hex code here. So you can see, okay, I want this color code for that background. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to put it right here where it says HTML code. I said hex. And it's not letting me copy paste. EBF2FF. All right. And then click OK. And that will change the background of our menu. So, okay. We've got DU axis, DU level, DU path. All right, so I wanted to create the map now that I have for the dashboard. So I'm going to click on a new sheet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on state and province. And that will automatically put state province on detail. And it'll put longitude and latitude on the columns and rows shelf. And I want to change this to a map. So I'm going to select the filled map from the marks card drop down. So I want to do two things. I want to have the different regions with one color. And then I want to have a symbol map on top of a filled map showing the sales on different cities. You can do this however you want to. I just thought it'd be interesting to show you a dual axis with a map. So I'm going to put region on color. And I'm going to change the opacity for the color. Change it and make it come down a little bit. Another interesting thing I want to do is you can see the default for the states are black. I just want to change that to white. I think it kind of looks a little bit cleaner. The other thing is I want to get rid of all these little labels, like the state, the country labels. So I'm going to go up to map and say background layers. And I'm going to check the boxes on the left-hand side to get rid of those names. So I have a much cleaner map here. This is also where you can go if you wanted to change the style of the map from this drop down here. But I'm going to close out this menu here. And all right, so what I'm going to do is click on longitude, hold my control key down, and this will duplicate this pill. So once again, click on longitude, hold that control key down to duplicate it. And I'll have two side by side, but for the second one, I want to change it to a circle map. And I can see right now there's only one circle for every single state, so I want to change the granularity. So I'm going to put city on color. And it's going to ask me, do you want to do, this warning may contain is 500. That's fine. So, maybe I don't want city on color. City will give all the cities color. I want to put sales on color here. So I can see the different sales. And I can see the granularity for sales. And I'm going to put sales on label. And, I want to format them as a currency. I notice they're not overlapping. That's okay. We're going to change that. Once it drills down, you'll see it. So I'm going to right click on sales and select format. And I'm going to format this on pane and change it to a currency. So I'm going to go ahead and select the down arrow for no decimal places. Okay. So I've got my symbol map and I've got a filled map. And I'm just going to make it a dual axis. So I'm going to right click on the second longitude and select dual axis. So I've got my circles on top of the filled map. And notice the circles also have a white border. You could make them a darker border if you wanted to, or you just keep them as white, whatever you would prefer. So I'm going to call this our map. And I just realized I did forget a step from the DD menu and the DU menu. She has sales on label, and she has a dual axis on these as well. So I'm going to show you how to create an inline calculation. So I'm going to select new calculation on the columns shelf. And this method is calling, like I said, inline calculation. And I'm going to type in average to open parenthesis 1, closing parenthesis. So what that'll do is you can see it replicated the labels from everything on the left. And I'm going to make this a dual axis by selecting the down arrow and making a dual axis. And I'm going to synchronize the axis by right clicking on the bottom and selecting synchronize axis. And I'm going to go to this third marks card now, because we can see there's an all one, there's a DD axis. I'm going to go to the third one and remove the DD shape from that one. I'm going to remove the DD label from that one, and I'm going to remove the measure names color. And I'm just going to put sales on the label. So not only do we have sales on a map, but we're going to have sales automatically in this drop-down menu. So I'm going to format this. One way to format it, so you don't have to keep formatting it sheet by sheet, is right-clicking on sales and selecting default properties, number format, and you can change it to a currency now going forward. So you don't have to keep formatting every single time. Another habit. Another thing I noticed that she did is she sorted the items here by, highest to lowest. So I'm going to click on path and select sort. And I'm going to say I want this to be nested. And I'm going to select that sales value. So we've got sales and then descending so that The highest amount will always be on top. And I'm also going to reduce the size of those. I'm going to make this a circle because the shape kind of made them the empty circles, but I'm going to change it to circle, shrink that size down, and then change the color to white. So you don't really see that size there. And then I'm going to uncheck show headers. So you can see it's nice and clean here. And I'm going to do on the drill up menu, we're going to put a label here. So I'm going to replicate those steps. I'm going to right click new calculation on the columns shelf, type in AVG and put a 1, open parenthesis 1, closing parenthesis. And once again, I'm going to make this a dual axis, and I'm going to synchronize the axis and do the similar steps for this one where I remove the shape. I'm going to change this to a circle, move that size down there, and remove measure names, remove DU label. And I just want to double check her steps real quick. Oh yeah, we want to put the DU subtotal on label, and notice that's a really high number, and you're going to want to change this aggregation to an average. So, and then I'm going to change the background color to the color, change the color of the shape to the background color here. So I can see that's already selected. That's the first one there. And I could just put the opacity down to 0 also. And then I'm going to just hide the headers. So I'm going to uncheck those show headers. So I've got my drill up menu. Oh, and I need to format it as a currency. So I'm going to right click on DU subtotal and select format and change it to a currency with no decimal places. All right. So we have DU menu, DU, DD menu, and we've got our map here. So it's time to build a dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and select new dashboard from the sheet here. And I'm going to get rid of the phone layout. So if you go up to dashboard, you can get rid of phone layouts if you don't want them by unchecking that box there. And I am going to make this a fixed size, and I'm going to pick just generic desktop. So we've got our generic dashboard menu. Actually, I'm going to desktop browser. There we go. Generic desktop browser. Okay. So I want to do a horizontal container first. Some people are, team containers. Some people are not team containers, but I'm going to show you the expandable collapsible feature. So you're going to need a container for this exercise. So horizontal container first, then I'm going to put the map on here. Okay. And then I'm going to drag a vertical container inside the horizontal container where I'm going to put the DD menu in first and then the DD menu in underneath. And I'm going to clean up the dashboard by removing these legends here. You can always bring them back later if you want to. And I'm going to kind of just, make this a little. All right. So I am going to hide the titles for each of these sheets. And I'm going to adjust the padding. So I'm going to click on this one first and go to layout. And if I scroll down, okay, I'm going to uncheck the box for make all sides equal and put a 0 for the bottom one. And I'm going to click on this one and uncheck make all sides equal and put 0 there. So we can see that I've got, I think something's selected. That's why they're grayed out. Okay, so you can just check on them to bring them back. All right. So we're showing Arizona, showing West, but we're not doing anything yet. So we need to add actions. And I like how she labeled the actions to be pretty straightforward in her article. So, and she's also labeled each action with the source, print, and the target, and what do you want. So our source sheets are here. You can see DU, DU, DD, DD. She called hers EX5. for those items. So let's create the dashboard actions. And I think on the map, I forgot to add is selected. So I'm going to go back to the map. Yep, I forgot to add is selected. So that's very important. As I was trying to troubleshoot this last week, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't drilling down. It's because I didn't have the parameter calculated field right on the filter shelf for the map. And you see, once you add that, it will drill down. So probably a rookie mistake, but wanted to share my mistakes so you can learn from them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on dashboard and click on actions. And I'm going to select our first parameter action. So I'm going to select change parameter here. And I'm going to call this DD level. And we want this on the DD menu. So DD, we want to run the action on select. We want to say our target is level parameter. See level, makes it nice and organized there. And our source field, we want it to be the DD level. So there we go. DD level, DD menu level. And we don't want this to be an aggregation. So we're going to turn that off. So pretty straightforward. Keep the current value and then select OK. All right, so that's our first one. Then our next one we want to do is DD path. So we're going to change parameter, adding another action to change parameter here. And I'm going to call this DD path. And I'm going to select the DD menu sheet again, run the action on select, and our source parameter now will be our path. So path, and then look for DD path here. And then no aggregations. Okay, so DD path, DD menu, path parameter, path source field, no aggregation. And then click OK. So now I want to do two more change parameter actions. So this one is going to be DU level now. So we're going to replicate the steps for the DD level, but we're going to be DU level. So I'm going to uncheck DD menu and map, run action on select, and our target parameter here will be level, and our source field will be DU level. Just DU level, and then no aggregation there, and select OK. And our last one, change parameter, and this is going to be DU path. Once again, uncheck DD menu, uncheck map. Our target parameter is path now, and our source field is DU path with no aggregation. And we'll keep the source, keep the current value when we run the action. All right, so we created all of our parameter actions. I'm going to select OK, and we should be able to filter the map now. So if I click on all, and I click on west, I can see that I'm drilling down directly to the state, and then maybe I'm selecting Seattle. There we go, and it's filtering on Seattle. Notice I did not change the back button, so I'm going to go back to the sheet here, and I'm going to edit that shape. So I'm going to click on shape, and I'm going to go to my dashboard icons, and I think I'll just make that the circle shape. So you can know to click back, or if you click back, it'll take you back to the menu, or you can select up here. So another interesting thing that you could do is click on the title of the map and select edit title to select what you're showing here. So we can highlight sheet name and select insert path and make it bold. So we can see, oh, okay, what we have our cursor on. Right now we're showing the whole map. Here, if I select west, notice that it's changing from, oh, you're selecting all in west. I'm selecting Oregon. So now it's going down to Oregon. So this is, the other part is collapsible container. So let's add a blank uh, object right here, because some people like to have like a navigation pane. So, you can put a blank menu here and then make it kind of like a lighter gray if you want a navigation pane. I want to add a button here. So I'm going to go ahead and select Add Showed High button. And it's going to give me this little button here. I could move it to over here on the navigation pane and then make it not float. So I'm going to just move it back here. So, and do some adjustments there. And I want to give this an interesting, shape. So once again, icons8.com, and I'm going to select Edit Button. So with the item shown, I'm going to choose a menu. I'm going to choose this Filter X that I got from Icons8. A lot of shapes here from my custom folder. I'm going to select Open, and the item hidden now. Okay, so what do I want to select for the item hidden? So I'm going to select Choose. You could choose like a cursor icon to kind of indicate to your users, hey, select this. I choose the arrow. And like I said, you could go to that icons8.com and pick whatever. I'm going to select Open. And another good thing to do is kind of type in a tooltip here. So when your user hovers over the button, it says, click here to filter the dashboard. Item shown. Click here to close this menu. And if you want to see what it'll look like for your clients, you can click on the present button there, and you can see it will expand and collapse that filter. So the button normally will hide itself, but you can hit escape to get out of that view. And you know what? I want to change the background color of this button to match. You might want to adjust your padding because you can see it's like a clear, thing there. So I'm going to select this. Once again, all sides not equal. Give me a 0 for the top, and then give me a 0 for the bottom of this. And if you want to move this down, you can and expand it and collapse it that way. But see, where are we with time here? We have plenty of time. So the other thing that I did with this dashboard is I took it one step further. I have bands at the top with like the total orders, so it'll drill down. So you can do that, if you go to like a new sheet. And I'm going to show you a method for KPIs that I use is doing that whole inline calculation part. So if we go to the columns shelf and select new calculation, I like to label my inline calculations. So I'll do that with a //, and I'll call this one sales. And then on my keyboard, I have to select Shift Enter and then type in MIN for min, open parenthesis, 0, closing parenthesis. So this is kind of like creating a placeholder, creating separate columns on a sheet. So I'm going to do this 4 times. So I'm going to say new calculation, //. This is going to be profit, Shift, Enter, min, open parenthesis, 0, closing parenthesis. Okay. And now I'm going to select a new calculation, do orders. And this helps to also identify your different marks cards, because you see how I'm creating these? One says sales, one says profit. Instead of just having several that say min, this is helping you identify where you have what when you're looking at this 6 months from now. So be kind to, your future self. I'm going to be kind to future Dawn and label my items. So if I need to make any changes. And if you're doing so many dashboards, you're going to want to, get into these habits. So I'm going to expand the entire view here. And I'm going to change this to text. Well, actually, I'm going to change it to a shape. Sorry. So, and you'll see why. I'll get rid of the highlighting by changing this to a shape. So for sales, I'm going to drag sales onto the label. Okay. And then I'm going to, on the label, change the alignment to be center aligned. And I want to make this a bigger number. So I'm going to click on the ellipsis on the label drop down. And on my edit label pop-up menu, I'm going to make this, make it 20. Maybe I want to make it 24, make it B, bold. And then up here, I'm going to just, I don't want to put it up top. I'm going to put it at the bottom. I'm going to call this total sales and make this a size 10. All right. So that is our first one. And I want to abbreviate. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna abbreviate it to thousands K. So on pane, maybe make it currency and then change it to display K there with no decimal places. So that is my first one. I'm also going to remove the 0 by selecting a blank shape. So under shape and more shapes, I actually created a custom shape and talk about this on my blog site where it just isn't a shape, but it'll get rid of that highlighting. So you can see here, if I click on it, it doesn't highlight when you have that shape there, that blank shape. So then I'm going to go to profit and put profit on label, format that as a currency custom, no decimal places, and display units thousands K. And I'm going to make the label center aligned. And one thing I want to show you too is if you want to just remember your formatting. So if you go back to sales and click on the ellipsis, you can copy what's in here and then paste it in your label here and just replace it. So I'm going to change this to center aligned. I'm going to highlight sales and then select sum of profit and just rename profit. So just another quick tip, you can copy formatting from each one. Since you see that I'm doing 4 different marks card each separately, I can just copy the format so I don't have to keep highlighting and doing those kinds of things. And make the shape, custom shape blank. All right, now I'm going to go to orders and put quantity on label and leave it. So I'm going to go to label, paste what I previously did. Okay. And this is total orders. And then change it to center aligned. And then blank shape. And then the last one, customers. Got to put customers on there first, Don. So this one, I'm going to put customer name and put a count, customer name, count distinct. So I'll put this on label. So you can see, okay, there's a distinct 793 customers. So once again, I put customer on detail, changed it to count distinct, and then moved it to label. And you can do this whatever order you would like. And so you might text me back and be like, Dawn, did you know there's a faster way of doing this? And I'll be like, okay, great. I'm open to suggestion. So total customers and then change the shape to and then change the label to center aligned. All right. So I'm going to hide my headers. I want to get rid of these lines. So I'm going to right click format and go to borders and get rid of these row dividers and then column dividers. All right. Whoops. And then I'm going to call this ban. So we've got our big big actual numbers. Some people have actually called it, you know, some other things. I'm going to put ban on the canvas now up top, and then make sure that it's working on the, so 1 second. I've got to put, put it on the bottom. Okay, I did not want that. All right, so hide title, hide title, and then this I want to put in a vertical container. I'm going to put this here and then put the ban in here. So 2 vertical oh my goodness, Dawn, what happened? There we go. Sometimes you got to play around with it until it works. And then show dashboard title and those, so. So let's see if it works now in present mode. Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm going to move this around. There we go. So a little bit of adjustments now, and see if we have it now. And I took the ban off. So nice. So nice. The ban disappeared. These are all fun things that happens when you are doing your dashboards. Oh my goodness. All right. So I have to put is selected on the filter shelf. There we go. Yay. Thanks for sticking with me. If you're watching me live, these are all the things that happen when you are doing dashboards. You may have to play around with, and now it's not expanding and collapsing. Oh boy. So you might have to play around with it until it works and get it to go. I think I did this. I think I did the selection menu when I did the ban and stuff first. So I might have to re-put that on the dashboard. So yep. All the things that happen live that you run into when you're having an issue with your dashboard. Oh my goodness. So, all right. Well, vertical container, put DD menu top, DD menu there, hide title, hide title. Are we on time? All right. And it still isn't doing things. All right. So, interesting. And it all happened when I added the ban sheet. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I'm probably going to have to play around with this a little bit later, but I wanted to show you her hierarchy menu, and I swear it works. I swear it works. Doing expand and collapsible containers. This is going to drive me crazy. I'm the kind of person that, like, when you do this, you know, when you're playing video games and stuff like that, you know, stuff will drive me crazy until like I figure it out. And I don't want to take like a couple hours to do that. So I'm going to log in and see what I did with. I wonder if I did any expandable and collapsible containers with the all right. Well, thank you so much for joining. I will fix this and follow up. I swear it will work when you have a TD menu and it looks like you did everything first in the steps and then bringing your map and so on. You could, as a solution, you could, as a solution, have your container as floating if you don't want it to expand and collapse. But when I did this previously, had the DD menu, DD menu, DU menu, and then I added the map and stuff first. So it's probably just your order of operations. But not going to get into it because, like I said, I have like 9 minutes left, but wanted to go through all those steps. So thanks for watching, and join me next time for Dawn's design demos. And I'm giving you live examples of the issues you run into when you're a developer. So thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a great day.